Good morning, viewers. Thank you very much. Welcome to Punchline Africa, Matanga Africa Perspective, broadcasting all the way from the London headquarters to Nairobi in Kenya and across the continent of Africa, and in Europe, the entire universe, in China, in Ukraine, in Russia, in America. Good morning in South, wherever you are. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on the region where you are on the universe. This show is Matanga Africa Perspective. Today we shall start it with a style to put a takeaway on the conflict of Ethiopia / Tigray. We want to see what we can do, the challenges, the obstacles that the mediators might face in the conflict. This morning, therefore, I address this conflict as a Pan-African. As a Pan-African who has taken a long study of conflicts across the continent of Africa. How did we get where we are today is the most important thing that we want to look at, and I want to look at in the next 15 minutes to 20 minutes to find out the causes, the root causes, the challenges, the obstacles, what can bring about a breakthrough. I will be very candid in my discussion to bring out the obstacles, the major obstacles that are hindering peace from returning in that great country. As you know very well, Ethiopia was a country with a GDP that was very impressive in the Africa and the East African, the Horn and the IGAD and the African Union. Ethiopia also hosts our African organization, African Union organization, and several other international agencies that matter to Africa. This country has been peaceful. This country has seen a GDP grow up. This country has been very innovative. This country has been a country of hope, a country from Mengistu Haile Mariam to a country of hope, a country for all the people of Ethiopia to live together, a country where peace was as good as peace, where you could leave your telephone on the streets of Ethiopia and you find it the following morning. Today, this country has been reduced to a conflict that has divided the ethnicity through ethnicity. Someone has visited the ethnicity problem that Africa has, ignited a problem that has seen the two once brothers fighting each other within the same country. The suffering of the people of Tigray and the people of Ethiopia in general is what I want to look at. Is there hope? The two African Union mediators, former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta of Kenya and the former President Olusegun Obasanjo, General, have been tasked with a very important role to play in bringing about a peaceful transition, a peaceful Ethiopia. Will they manage? Will they be able to do it? Are they able? What are the obstacles? What are the challenges? That is what we want to look at when I finish this presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, Matanga Africa Perspective seeks to look at the challenges. One of the most important challenges that the Ethiopian Tigray conflict faces is a humanitarian challenge. The people on both sides need humanitarian aid. They need food. The people need food, access to food, medicine, schools, clothes, shelter, water. Africa is endowed with many things that include the climate, the weather, the water. But we have not been able to manage the dry season and the cold season, the water and the dryness that comes. We misuse most of these assets, and they are therefore drought. The weather pattern, we cut down trees, We export these trees for timber and charcoal in the Middle East. And we have found ourselves with the weather pattern changing and the climate changing, and therefore there is drought in the region. But coming back to the humanitarian obstacle, the people, the world is calling upon both sides. Today I will speak on both sides. I will stand by both sides because I want to be neutral. It hurts me because both of the two people, they have been my friends. They are all my friends. I've been with them for the last 42 to 45 years. I've known Zenawi, I've known all the people in Ethiopia, most of them. I've known all of them, those who are in Tigray. We have been together in solidarity meetings. We have been together in uniting the people of Africa. I believe one day it will come to pass. I believe one day that peace will return and the people of Ethiopia will be united under one Ethiopia. The humanitarian catastrophe therefore presents a big challenge today. Mediators, how do we get a ceasefire that can lead to a humanitarian delivery of goods into the areas which are most needed? Medicines, hospitals are dry. Everybody is crying for someone and for something. They are crying for help. The children are dying. The women are dying. The old, the young have been mistreated. The death rate in those areas where war is taking place has risen. What can the mediators do? The first thing the mediators must do is to cease fire, to obtain a cessation of hostilities agreement that will allow the food to freely, without any interruption, to reach the people who dearly need this food. And to that end, I call upon both the warring parties to bring about a cessation of hostilities agreement, to sign it, honor it, so that the food can reach the entire region where the war is going on. The second point is the lack of resources to man the peace process. The international community must pump in quite a lot of finances, material, both material and financial muscle, in order to bring about the peaceful transition in Ethiopia. They need money. We should not do like what we have done to the conflict that is in Sudan, South Sudan, where we left the people, the warring parties, without money to master and to control and to guide the peace process. The third point, where obstacles are the external darker forces. The external darker forces on both sides have created what we call a stalemate that we see today. I will be very candid on this program to mention the darker forces that have actually caused us all the trouble that we have in today's Ethiopia. One of the outstanding darker forces that the mediators must tackle is the question of Eritrea. What role does Eritrea play in the conflict of Tigray and Ethiopia? If we don't sort out, if we don't talk to the people who arm these people, if we don't talk to the people who have invaded these people, then we cannot have a peace process going on in well and being concluded. I advise, therefore, that the mediators can look for the peace process, can have the peace process going on very well, if they start talking to the people who are arming both sides. On the side of Tigray, there are people who are arming them. And therefore, we call upon them also to come out clean and state what they want and what their interests are. On the side of Ethiopia, there are also people arming them. Turkey is one of the countries arming Ethiopia. United Arab Emirates Egypt plays a crucial part in this conflict, and some other Western powers that are hidden behind Egypt that are causing the mayhem that we see. So mediators must be prepared to face the truth and tell the truth that the people of Ethiopia are tired on both sides. We are crying of a humanitarian catastrophe which is taking place. But there are people outside here who are selling their arms, who are sending arms into Ethiopia to kill people. These are the countries we must start talking to, and we must not leave any stone unturned until we get to the bottom of it. Ladies and gentlemen, there is another disturbing factor that will hamper the peace process in Ethiopia. Accountability is one of the issues that need if a peace process is to be hammered. But accountability with accusations does not augur well for a peace process. The International Criminal Court, that is the ICC, decided to go in to investigate crimes against humanity and label out and single out and stand out by condemning sides. From my experience as a mediator, a negotiator, a peace conflict resolution expert, that type of strategy can work very, very counterproductive to the peace process. We should wait until there is a cessation of ceasefire, and then we can bring in and investigate who did what and where was it done. It was very, very uncalled for the ICC to begin investigations and to begin publishing the reports which could hamper the two sides sitting on table. Those are the challenges, ladies and gentlemen. Miriam, back in the studios in Nairobi, I want to tell you that those are the few challenges of those 4 points. If we are not careful, if we don't handle them, if we don't solve them, if we don't talk to the people who are arming both sides first, it could be a headache for the mediators. I yield the microphone and wait for our pure discussion on the floor. Thank you very much. This is Dr. David Matanga on the map, Matanga Africa Perspective, all the way from London headquarters.